and welcome to the channel where we talk about all things Weiss Schwarz and chill with friends. My name is Liam and today I'm going to be talking about my Kanata Marine deck profile. Now, if you are new to the channel here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. As well as that, make sure you check out my other social medias on Twitch, on Discord, on Twitter, and on Patreon. All those links are in the description below. But let's jump straight in. Now, as I mentioned, today I'm going to be talking about my Kanata Marine deck profile, and that's going to be one of many Hololive deck profiles that I'm going to be covering on this channel. And this series of Hololive deck profiles is actually sponsored. And the sponsor of this series is Red Viper Games. Now, Red Viper Games are a Weiss Schwarz singles and playset specialist, as well as selling Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering sealed products. And they're based in Europe, and we don't actually have many Weiss singles shops in Europe, so it's great to see these guys do what they do. Now, whilst they're new to the market, they're actually very reasonably priced and extremely reliable. So what I recommend you do is check out the link in the description below to their website, and when you check out for any Weiss Schwarz singles or playsets, use the discount code WEISSandChill5, that's Weiss and Chill 5, and then you'll get 5% off on any order that you make. So again, big thank you to Red Viper Games for sponsoring this video and this video series. But let's jump straight in. Starting off with our level zeros, we run 4 copies of Yamada Hermione Minotaur Aqua. It gains 3000 power in the middle slot of our center stage, and as well as that, when this card goes from stage to waiting room, you may pay 1, put a character from, or Hololive character from your waiting room to the bottom of your clock, and if you do, reveal the top 2 cards of your deck, and any Hololive characters amongst those, add those to your hand. It's a fantastic 3/5 character in the middle position. As well as that, the fact that you can potentially +2 is pretty nuts, and the fact it's on death means that you haven't got to plus when you play it, and also it means that like cross turn you can basically start your next turn with 9-10 cards in hand, just due to the delayed effect of this. As well as that, we run 2 cards of the Cruel Truth Aki Rose. They're basically the same cost. When it goes from stage to waiting room, you may pay 1, put a Hololive character from waiting room to bottom of clock, and if you do, rather than top 2, you just get to salvage a character. Again, fantastic for being able to get those specific cards that you know you've already seen in your waiting room, and a fantastic way of pushing damage, which is very vital in this build. We run 3 copies of Towards the Future Together Akai Hato, and this card is, when this card attacks, you can choose one of your other characters to gain 1000 power, so fantastic for boosting your level 0 game. And also, when this card gets reversed, you may reveal up to the top 3 cards of your deck. If there is a climax amongst those, you may add 1 climax to your hand, and if you do, you must discard a card from your hand. Fantastic for hand filtering, and even better for ensuring that you've got your main combo piece for your Kanata, the climax, which is not the easiest to get if you're not lucky. Moving on swiftly, we've got 3 copies of Towards the Future Together Hinamori Luna, and this card is literally a current side attack. It's 3000 power, and it's a climax swapper on play. Pay 1, discard a climax to get a climax from your waiting room to your hand. Fantastic if you get the wrong climax in hand, you need to fix it to get the right one in hand. And again, this is fantastic throughout the game, and not only that, it's 3000 power, meaning that it's pretty competitive at level 0. We run 3 copies of Bomb Disposal Quad Anamane Kanata. This card is a bond where you can bond for a card that we don't run, but also the level 3 Kanata. So on play, you may discard a card from your hand, and if you do, you may get the specific level 3 Kanata from your waiting room and return it to your hand. Not only that, its second effect, an act ability where you can discard a card from your hand and send this card from stage to waiting room, and if you do, choose a Hololive character from your waiting room and return it to hand. A fantastic hand filter, and this card has saved me so much. I've seen a lot of builds run this at like 2. I think 3 is perfect. And finally, for the level 0 game, we run 3 copies of Raid Kiru Koko, and this card is, if you've got 2 or more other Hololive characters on stage, all of your other level 1 Lunas from the trial deck from Gen 4, and the level 3 Kanata, which is the important thing, gain a global 1000 power. And not only that, it's a draw brainstorm, so it's a pay 1, rest self brainstorm, reveal the top, or flip over the top 5 cards of your deck, and draw for the number of climaxes you reveal. Fantastic for getting through your deck. The fact that the draw brainstorm is really nice as well. Again, if you're really struggling to find that climax, using the draw brainstorm just increases your chance of getting that to hand. I love this card. Some people run it as a 4 of to make sure you see it and to help with yellow balance for your late game, which I'll come to in a moment. But I found that 3 is absolutely fine. Moving swiftly on to the level 1 game, for those that know Kanata Marine, it's weird in the sense of it has no level 1 combo, and the only 2 level 1s we run in this deck is 4 copies of Towards the Future Together Robokusan, and we also run 3 copies of Elite Power Sakura Miko. The Robokusan is on play, you may discard a Hololive character from your hand, and if you do, reveal the top card of your deck, and then you get to get a character from your waiting room equal to or lower than the level of the character or the card revealed from the top of your deck. Not only that as well, it's on attack, you can choose one of your characters and give it 1,500 power. Can't choose itself though. The Elite Power Sakura Miko is a 4k base 1/0 from the trial deck, and if you've got 2 or more other Hololive characters, it gains 2,000 power, making it 6,000. And then its second effect, which again helps with the idea of your damage acceleration, making sure that you get yourself to level 2 as soon as possible, is it's got an encore ability where you can put a Hololive character from waiting room to bottom of clock, and then you get to rest this character as an encore. So the 3 cards that do that effect of putting characters from waiting room to the bottom of your clock, the Aqua, the Aki Rose, and the Miko, are fantastic for color fixing, which is also why I think that the Coco, you don't need to run it as a 4-off, because as long as you see one of these in waiting room and then you need yellow at some point, you can use one of these 3 cards to fix that, and it's really easy to do so. Moving on to the level 2 game, we run one copy of Towards the Future Together Tokoyami Towa. This card is a level assist, meaning that characters in front of it gain 500 times the character's level. So if it's a level 3, it would gain 1,500 power. Level 2, 1,000 power. Level 1, 500 power. Level 0, no power. It also has the effect of on play, from hand to stage, you may reveal the top card of your deck, and if that card is a level 1 or lower card, then you can put that card to your stock. That includes climaxes, which are regarded as level 0s. And finally, its third effect is that you can use an act ability to put this card from stage to waiting room, and if you do, you may choose one of your opponent's characters and move it to any open slot. Now, this is pretty key because you can do multiple things with this. You can bring a backstage character to the center stage, dealing with things like brainstorms, level assist, hex proofs, all sorts of things like that. So you can use that to really help your game plan. Not only that as well, you can also bring characters forward to enable you to do side attacks, to control your damage output if you're going for the win on a turn. This card is fantastic for that. But not only that as well, if you have a problematic card in the center stage and your opponent has an open slot, you can use this card to move that problematic card to a different location. For example, a bodyguard, whereby if you've got a bodyguard in the middle position, or a great performance, should I say, if your opponent's got great performance on the stage, you can move it to somewhere that isn't the middle position of their center stage, and if you do that, it gets rid of the great performance, which is fantastic and a really good way of getting around that. So moving on to the rest of our level 2 game, we run 2 copies of Hachima Beam Akai Hato, and this card is a 2/5 counter, and also if you use this card's backup, you may discard 4 Hololive characters from your hand, and if you do, choose one of your opponent's characters and rest it, also known as a rest counter. Now, this card is great because of how the level 3 or the level 2 level 3 combo works in this deck. You can recycle this so well whilst maintaining a very good hand size and basically restrict your opponent doing anything, and it's fantastic for that. This deck really utilizes this probably the best out of any Hololive deck that I've seen, and it shows that rest counters at the moment are a big issue. Mushoku Tensei in Japanese obviously got hit with their rest counter and show how useful that is, and this is just another one, so I'm worried this might get hit. However, for now, it's a very, very good card. Finally, for our level 2s, we run 4 copies of the Smoothie Amane Kanata, and this card is a 3,000 backup level 2. And also, climax combo is when you play the stock soul climax from your hand to the stage for the climax area, you may put this card to waiting room, and if you do, you may play the level 3 Kanata from your hand to stage. So moving on to the first climax of this deck, Stay Like This Just For Today is a stock soul, but not your standard color restricted stock soul. This is a level 1 or lower character stock soul, meaning that, again, you haven't got to worry about the color balance early game. You can just put any of your level 1 or lower stock from playing this climax. And then we move on to the level 3 combo, which is obviously the on the stage Amane Kanata, which is on play from hand, which includes when it's played by the climax combo of the Snooty Amane Kanata. You get to heal one or put the top card of your deck clock to your waiting room, and then its main climax combo, which is at the beginning of your attack phase. If the climax is still in play, which it would be if you were playing it through the level 2, you get to choose up to 2 or more characters from your waiting room, providing you have 4 or more other characters on your stage, meaning basically you've got a full board. And what you get to do, you get to either put those characters from waiting room to either your hand or your stock. So you can either generate stock and make sure you're plussing there, or what this deck usually does is make sure you've got the card in hand for your rest counter for your next turn to keep your level 3s alive, so adding extra counters back, making sure you've got the level 2 and the level 3 in hand so you could play more next turn. The recyclability of this card is ridiculous, and it makes this deck so consistent in the sense of getting this off is not difficult. The only thing you've got to think about is you've got to make sure you sit your hand up and move at the right pace to make sure you don't get rushed. If you get rushed in this deck, you really struggle, and it's really hard to pull it back, but it isn't impossible. And the game plan is pretty linear in the sense of you know where you want to get to for your level 3s, for your level 3 Kanata, but at the same time, getting there isn't always the easiest, and it's about managing how much you take damage and how much you take damage yourself by using the Miko, the Aki Rose, the Aqua. It's really all about controlling that and managing your damage. And then once you're ready to go off and you're ready to go for game, you move into your second climax combo for this deck, which goes with Enchanting Gaze, which obviously is the level 3 Marine. Towards the Future Together, Hosho. Towards the Future Together, Hosho Marine, and her effect is on play. You may put another Hololive character from your stage into your waiting room, and if you do, you may look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you may add one of those to your hand, one of those to your stock, and the rest of them you put to bin. And then basically the climax combo is on attack you may pay 1, discard a Hololive character. When this card attacks with Enchanting Gaze, the red climax is in play. You may burn 2 and then gain 2000 power until the end of turn. Now, whilst this doesn't seem fantastic as a finisher in the sense of it doesn't do a massive output, the fantastic thing about Marine is that you can perform and pull off a full level 3 combo with 3 of them on the field for only 4 stock at the beginning of your turn. The reason being is that when it comes into play, it does replace stock. Yes, you have to sacrifice cards on field, however, the fact you can do it from 4 stock, which isn't exactly hard to be at when you're going into your final level 3 turn, you know, I think this combo is really, really good, and it's really, really consistent, and that's what makes it so good. You can see that Marine is considered as one of the best level 3 finishers in Hololive at the moment, and for very good reason. And moving on to the final level 3s of this deck, we run 1 copy of Festival Drawing Natsuro Matsuri, which is when you play this card from hand, you may pay 1, and if you do, your opponent puts all of their stock into their waiting room and puts the same number of cards from the top of their deck into their stock. Basically a stock swap. And also, when you activate an act ability once per turn, this card gains 1000 power times the number of your opponent's backstage characters. So it could gain an extra 2000 power when using that ability. The second effect is kind of irrelevant. It's mostly used just for the stock swap. And finally, we run 1 copy of Tsunamaki Art, Tsunamaki Watame, which is if you've got 4 or more characters in play, you can play this at level 2. And also, when this card is played from stage to hand, you may reveal the top card of your deck, and if that card is a Hololive character, you may choose one of your opponent's level 3 or lower characters and put it to the bottom of their deck. Now, this is fantastic for getting rid of problem cards in the back row, problem cards in the front row, in terms of whether they're big for Mushoku Tensei and they're just big characters like the Ghislaine or things that boost stuff. You could deal with hexproofs, you can deal with 2k assists, you can deal with brainstorms if you really have to. You can deal with whatever you need to just open up a slot. And this combos fantastically well with the 2-1 Towa, because you can clear a space on your opponent's stage and then use the Towa to bring something into that position. So you can use these two together very well, and you only need to run them as ones off again because the Kanata filters your deck and you can basically select whatever you want to go into your hand. These cards are fantastic just as ones off that you can, if you need them, you can just get them quite easily. But that's the deck build. What do you think? Now, I took a little bit of inspiration here. So a big thank you to Platinum Point for his deck profile video. Link will be in the description. And also a big thank you to members of the UK community, from Dario to Callum to Lee, with just their inputs on their build and things like that. But ultimately, in terms of at the moment, ignoring the premium booster, which is not officially allowed until September 9th, I think this is the way to go with this build. The thing that I would change straight away is I would change the Minotaur Aqua to the Laplace, which is basically exactly the same card, just in yellow. And I'd also potentially change one or two of the red cards. I know that there's the Chloe, which is pretty good. There's also the Nene Climate Swapper you could use instead of the Luna Brainstorm, or the Climate Swapper. So there's a few flexibility points there, but straight away the Aquas should be changing to the pluses, and the rest of it is just a matter of trying. But what do you think? What would you change with this deck with the premium booster, and what do you think to this build? Is there anything you would change before premium booster? Let me know in the comments below. But thank you for watching this video, and thank you to our sponsors for today, Red Viper Games. Again, make sure you check out their link in the description below and use the discount code WeissandChill5 to get 5% off of any Weiss Schwarz singles or playset orders you make through their website. Again, links in the description below. This would not be possible without them. A lot of the foils I've got for this deck are from Red Viper Games, so thank you so much for them. They've got loads of availability on their Hololive stock, so make sure you check them out. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and again, if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, and if you enjoyed this video, please let me know by hitting that like button, and check out my socials in the description below for my Twitch, my Twitter, my Discord, and my Patreon. Again, they're all below. But thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye!